letting her rip also kind of means to pass gas. And I actually saw something. I also saw something online that husbands who pass gas, their wives actually live longer.
Really?
I'm not kidding. So I said to my wife, every time it happens that I do that, we're in the bed, and then I said, "Dear, I'm going to make you immortal."
Yeah, I'm saving your life.
Do you have a TMI alert? We could just have the TMI alert. Maybe by that theory, cowboys that are always riding the range around the cows, maybe they're going to live to be 120.
Blazing saddles.
Right. It's all that extra methane.
Possibly. So we're going to rant, and we're also going to have the second edition of our new feature, I Don't Believe This, where Connor and I will be introduced by Ken, and near the end of the show, and Connor will say something he absolutely doesn't believe about an important public policy issue, and I'll do likewise, and that way we'll be able to take all the contention out of everything. We'll be role-playing. We'll be civil because we'll see where the other guy will walk in the other person's moccasins, and we'll be inspired by Ken's expert introduction of the segment. So, top stories. Joe Biden pulls the trigger, and so do progressives. AOC is not excited by Joe Biden, so to me that means game over. You know, he doesn't have a chance. The important issue that Bernie Sanders has raised, and I'm very grateful to him for raising this, should we let child molesters and terrorists and serial killers, murderers, felons rotting in prison and on death row, should we let them vote? And Bernie says absolutely, and the press gave him an opportunity to sort of change his mind. Even Cher is against letting killers vote. My feeling is gamblers have paid Bernie to take a dive. It's just a theory. We'll talk about the Mueller report.
Lay you 3-2 odds on that.
As to whether Robert Mueller really stepped in it by not insisting on an interview with the president, and we'll get into the citizenship question on the census form. So let's get to the top story. Joe Biden has thrown his hat in the ring, and we can see, therefore, that he does have a few issues in terms of plugs up top. I think he had hair transplants.
Hair plugs, hair plugs.
Several years ago, but that's okay.
That's modern technology. That's all right.
That's old news.
It's 2019.
So I guess the question for you sages here on the panel is whether Biden really is the savior for the Democrats. If you look at the polls, and obviously this is way early, but Biden beats Trump head-to-head by about 46 to 42, something like that, or maybe 40, whereas Bernie and the president are pretty much neck and neck, both low 40s, whereas the other progressives don't do so well. Now, yeah, it's early, but isn't this going to be an important message to the Democrats to inspire them to just bite the bullet and say, you know, we don't really want to be as centrist as Joe is, but we really, really want to beat Trump. So isn't this going to give him a nice head start in the campaign?
I think that polls this early are effectively name recognition tests that have very little to do with the strength of the candidate as they would perform in an actual general election. Right. I think that at this point, what we know by saying that Biden is ahead is Biden is the biggest name we have on the Democratic side individually, and Trump is the incumbent president with a lot of power that comes from being the incumbent. He's obviously presided over an economic situation that looked rocky for a little bit, but has shown to be basically a recovery and overall positive, and that we're looking at a good, strong economy in most ways. And so he's going to start off really well on the front foot. But that doesn't mean that all these other candidates will be in the same position that they're in right now in a year. I mean, we've got 18 months of campaign ahead of us. To say that, you know, because anybody is doing individually well right now is a signal that we should sort of make sure not to change horses, to get all on the one team and push forward. That is, I think, actually to put your eggs in one basket. I think the Democrats would be better off by letting the process sort of run its course and have it be a competitive primary and have people talk, you know, about who they want their best, you know, candidate to be. And in the end, to end up with somebody who has taken advantage of that primary primary process the best.
Well,
it's all about growth during that process, and you can't grow your base.
I see your point, but Ken, some of the progressives are not holding their fire. There's a group called Justice Democrats, and they tweeted out immediately within minutes of Joe Biden announcing. They said Joe Biden's past votes were for the Iraq War, for mass incarceration. Not sure what that involved.
The crime bill in the 90s.
Okay, for school desegregation, he was against desegregation of schools, which is a little weird. I didn't know he's against marriage equality.
I don't know where they got that from.
It makes it sound like Trump's not so bad, you know?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Well, this is the problem. Anybody with this long a track record, this is the same problem Hillary had. Is she had?
Why would he be against desegregation?
Well,
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, of course not. Of course, he wasn't against desegregation in Brown v. Board of Education, but there are lots of bills that have subsequently tried to expand desegregation.
Yeah, he also he went on The View yesterday, Biden, and it didn't go well. Because the clips that I saw anyway, because he was hemming and hawing about whether or not he had to apologize to Anita Hill.
Yeah.
And last night on Bill Maher, they were saying, well, Anita Hill deserves a full apology and none of this, well, if I offended you, I'm sorry, and all of that. So apologize and get it over with.
Right.
What do you think, guys? I don't know.
I think that's just ancient history. But
it's coming up again.
It is, but I can't imagine the Democrats are going to reject Joe Biden because he wasn't as nice as he could have been to Anita Hill. The fact is, they let her pop up at the last minute. This had happened years before, and here we have the guy in the middle of his hearings, and she actually, was at the 11th hour, 11:59. And then the fact of the matter is, after the alleged harassment by Clarence Thomas, a few years later, she took another job with him when he went up the ladder because he kept getting promoted to bigger and bigger
She took another job with Clarence Thomas?
With Clarence Thomas. She followed him.
Well, you know what? I'm trying to go back.
Devastating.
I'm trying to go back to 1991. She was a last-minute drop-in. Was that right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember that.
If she didn't announce her charges after the actual commencement of the hearing involving Thomas, it was right before, after his name had been placed in nomination by Bush the senior.
And they were criticizing Biden for not letting more. There were other women, I guess, who were going to testify, and he didn't do it.
Right, and the other women, by and large, had huge credibility issues themselves. And so I think it's kind of unfair to blast Biden. I don't know why I'm saying this, because I think Biden's the biggest threat.
But I think it's important to remember what happened back in 1991, and I'm pretty fuzzy. I'd like to think I have a decent memory, but I can't remember what happened back then.
It's a long time ago. That's the issue fundamentally. Biden has been a public figure for more than 40 years.
Right.
And in 1974, he said, I think that busing is a bankrupt concept. I think it's a bad idea. And therefore, he voted for an anti-busing amendment to a school desegregation
But that didn't mean he's anti-desegregation.
Right. He
That's
said,
the thing.
I support desegregation, but I don't think this as a tool is a way to do it, which history has sort of.
So is that the anti-segregation charge then?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But that's the thing. He's always going to have an infinite string of past votes. So is it better for a Democratic candidate to be fresh and new and have almost no history so that they can project, a positive story about the future?
Buttigieg.
Or, a Barack Obama type who basically has no history so that nobody has anything to grab onto.
Barack Obama, who, according to Joe Biden, was articulate and clean.
Oh, here we go again with
the clean. Yeah.
By the way, he said he did not ask Obama to endorse him. Is that a big deal?
That's kind of like...
Lie alert! Lie alert!
I don't know. Is it?
He may not have asked, but I think that he would have loved it. And he said to a Fox reporter, Ducey, I didn't want him to. Of course
Peter
you wanted him to.
Exactly.
So why do you start your campaign out with a big fat lie?
It was worse than you thought.
Well, how do you know that? How do you know? Look, it's a stupid question maybe, but how do you know it's a lie?
Because human nature is, I want you to endorse me, Mr. Obama.
Okay.
Right.
It's just my guess.
It was worse than you thought, Ken. It wasn't just that he said, I didn't want Obama to endorse me. Joe Biden claimed that he told Obama not to, which is the most.
That's what I'm saying.
That's wild.
That's just idiotic.
Of course.
This is a good transition to the fact that I really love Cher. Cher, I mean, Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves.
You know, she had a twin sister, Cher alike. Remember Cher alike?
I fell for that.
Yeah.
And why do I like Cher so much, apart from the fact that she's a musical icon? It's because she's taken on Bernie Sanders on the "let's let killers vote" concept.
Sure. Yes.
A tweet by Cher the other day, she openly pondered, does Bernie Sanders really believe people in prison who are murderers, rapists, child molesters, Boston bombers still deserve the right to vote? All caps by Cher, by the way.
Oh, my God.
She always tweets in all caps.
Now, interestingly, she deleted the tweet not too long after that. Now, I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because a bunch of Republicans said, "You go, girl," and she realized, oh, I hate the Republicans. I'm going to delete my tweet.
No.
Well, you can't delete it because it's on my piece of paper
It's there forever.
So doesn't she have a good point? No, I mean, it wasn't really sort of dopey for Bernie to expose himself to enormous criticism?
Those are two very different questions. On the one hand, did Bernie say something that could be spun extremely badly for him?
This isn't a matter of context and spinning.
Absolutely.
This is a matter of child molesters on death row.
Yeah, Bernie,
because they're citizens.
Yeah, he flew the coop on this. He flew the coop.
No,
why do you think
guys
it wasn't
absolutely
so bad, Connor?
I need to be the screaming liberal in the
crazy
room.
Bernie, crazy Bernie.
Look,
hey, you don't want crazy
good
Bernie.
point. Let's not let Connor talk.
Yeah.
Let's just treat him like a conservative on campus.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
No,
yeah.
Go right ahead.
I'll just be your Alan Combs and be you kicked around.
Alan Combs.
Okay, so look. Bernie's point, and all the people who are saying that you should be able to vote while incarcerated, which 2 or 3 states have done, have made it possible to do so. They're saying we have the vast majority of people who are sitting in jail are in jail as a result of effectively low-level offenses, and frequently they're drug offenses. And these people have not necessarily done anything so bad that we think that we should.
Yeah, but then
take
they asked
away
him about the Boston bomber. He said, "Sure, he should vote too."
So the other issue is we should have a threshold at which whether or not we should have a threshold at which we say you have now forfeited the right to vote. And the other concept is who should be the arbiter of deciding who gets to vote. It's a very scary thing to say this person gets to vote and this person doesn't.
Yep.
And to say that just because somebody has broken the law automatically or is serving a jail sentence, they shouldn't be able to. It's just so dangerous to, at what point does this slippery slope end where we start deciding that other people who have done dumb things, irresponsible things, morally wrong things, don't get the right to vote? And suddenly we're China with a social credit system saying you don't have enough internet
Connor,
points.
You made a very good point. It's persuasive. It's thought-provoking.
Thank you.
It's worthy of discussion, lots of discussion. Yeah. I think it should be the paramount issue throughout the campaign until early November 2020.
Trump gets elected.
That is the only way.
I mean, if
Trump
it helps the Republicans, well, so be it. It's an intellectual issue that needs to be probed from every angle. We should probe Bernie from every angle. When we come back, why shouldn't the census form ask you if you're a citizen of the United States? Huh? Stick with us on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show.
This is the entertainment answer. Avengers Endgame is finally here. After the devastating events of Avengers Infinity War, the universe is in ruins. With the help of the remaining allies, the Avengers assemble once more in order to restore order to the universe. It's certainly been a fun ride for Don Cheadle's War Machine.
This has been a very interesting ride and a lot of fun, and to be this many movies in and to still be changing and to still have new stuff to do, it's just been really exciting.
Avengers Endgame, rated PG-13. For this entertainment answer, I'm Matt Mungle.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I was singing in the shower, singing El Solo Mio. Oh, Solo Mio. As I was singing Mio, I sneezed. So I'm drying up, and I sneeze again. And I blow my nose. A whole bunch of stuff comes out. I'm suddenly realizing that I am breathing out of my nose the best I've ever breathed out of my nose in years. I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden now I'm breathing. What has happened in the past year? I'm a balanced Asian. Little by little every day, if I experience it, I'm happy. I'm sure this has to do with the balance of nature. I'm sure it does.
When you call, use discount code FLASH, and we'll take 20% off any first preferred order of Balance of Nature and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FLASH.
Picture yourself and your loved one saying, I do, with a stunning sunset behind you and the sound of the waves gently lapping the shore. We can make that dream wedding come true. Ka'anapali Beach Hotel offers oceanfront and ocean view venues for a perfect backdrop to all your wedding memories. Choose from our wedding and vow renewal packages or let us customize a ceremony just for you. Call 661-0011 or visit Ka'anapaliWeddings.com and let us help you create that once-in-a-lifetime occasion.
CRN listeners, when you come to Southern California, stop by a great restaurant, the Dresden Restaurant at 1760 North Vermont Avenue in Hollywood. Enjoy great entertainment, like the music of the legendary Marty and Elaine at the world-famous Dresden Restaurant. The Dresden was a location for the making of the movie Swingers. Now you can swing with stars Marty and Elaine. Plus, enjoy great food, too, like French onion soup, artichoke hearts, and many other great appetizers. Seafood, there's salmon, shrimp scampi, New Zealand orange roughy, halibut, Lake Superior whitefish, and specialties like veal marsala, piccata, and parmigiana. Plus, we've got a great roast rack of lamb, chicken piccata, and cordon bleu, and pasta dishes, too. Steaks, filet, New York, Chateaubriand for two. Much more, too, including pork chops, prime rib of beef, and an incredibly extra large cut of prime rib. It's the Dresden Restaurant, open for lunch Monday through Saturday and dinner Monday through Sunday. Check us out at 1760 North Vermont Avenue or call 323-665-4294.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our radio correspondent Connor Oakes.
Hey.
So, guys, before we get to the issue of whether or not the census form should include citizenship, this just in, breaking news from Brazil. You're not going to believe this story out of Brazil. Brazilian president, his name is Jair Bolsonaro. Oh, you knew this already. That's very impressive.
He's the Trump of Brazil.
Yeah, so he says his country needs to reduce a very unpleasant statistic, and it has to do with penis amputations. His government must make men aware of the dangers of poor hygiene after expressing dismay by the president over the 1,000 penis amputations that apparently occur in his country every year. Yes! Who knew, Ken? Now, he says, in Brazil we have 1,000 penis amputations a year due to a lack of water and soap. We must find a way to get out of the bottom of this hole.
Oh, my God.
A weird way to
express it. And it's a strange way to express that, too.
It is. Yeah. And there's another strange thing about this. Now, here's the story. I'm going to hold this up. I don't know if you can see it. There's a picture of the Brazilian president.
Oh, God, yes. I thought you were going to...
He's got a big smile on his face, and he's holding a pen, and he's talking about this story. Why is he? Okay. Why is this man smiling?
This is a cruel headline and picture choice.
Yeah,
Bolsonaro did not select that. That's not fair.
Was it a ballpoint or
the far-right leader called the figure ridiculous and sad, according to Reuters. A spokeswoman for the Brazilian Urology Society told the news agency the number is based on official data for penis amputation. So next time you think...
It's not just circumcision. This is entire whacking off the whole...
No, this is...
You'll pardon the expression.
Yes,
Ken, it is. Sorry about that.
Excellent
so you
choice.
think things are bad in America, all of the lack of civility? You just think about Brazil next time you start running America down. So I'm just glad we're up north here.
Yeah.
So the census form, every 10 years it comes out, and it's important to give a lot of data to the government about who everybody is and so on.
It determines where how much representation every physical area, geographic area gets. I mean, this is about how many representatives you get.
Yeah, because it's a one-man, one-vote. Can I still say one man, one vote?
No, because the Electoral College.
Do I have to say one person?
One person, one vote.
That's a separate issue.
Transgender person, one vote.
Since the 19-teens, when women were granted the right to vote, you have to say one person, one vote.
So the deal is every congressional district is supposed to have approximately the same number of folks in it.
Right.
So then the question becomes, well, what do you mean by folks, Royal? Citizens, non-citizens, and so on. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court actually held 3 years ago, unanimously, in the Evanwell versus Abbott case. It says states and localities are not required to equalize citizens, but it did not forbid them from doing so. So you may include non-citizens in your chunks of people to equalize the size of the districts. So now people are worried that if we ask the question about citizenship, it's going to cause a lot of illegals to say, oh, I don't want to respond to the census form. What if they, get wind of where I am and so on? So I guess my question is, why should the size of the district reflect illegals? Why shouldn't it just reflect citizens? They're the ones who are going to vote.
Right. Well, here's the thing: the census form does not just reflect people who can vote. It reflects people who live there and therefore will receive the benefits of the federal government.
Welfare.
I mean, we're talking about like paved roads and other utilities, and just you have to reflect the reality that people are living in a place and have the right to support from the government, even if they, for whatever reason, can't vote.
Do you want to support illegal immigrants?
I absolutely want to support undocumented immigrants, and I also want to support, say, I don't know, children.
Can you say,
people who are under the age of 18 and can't vote?
Illegal immigrants?
You can't say illegal immigrants anymore.
You can't so.
Hashtag no person is illegal.
You can't say one man, one vote.
Right.
There's so many things I can't say.
Undocumented.
I got to be kind of thoughtful to other people. This is terrible. I hate it. Okay, so look. There is a famous example of a tragic connection between this last story that we just did about people voting in prison and the census and districting. Look, there was a district in Texas that had 3 eligible voters in it and 1,500 prisoners in a prison. The perfect district is, of course, houses a prison and one house that is just your family. And guess what? You get to vote for yourself at a state level because all those people in prison are counted.
Cannot vote,
of course,
but they can't vote.
But they can't vote. So the only people left in the district to vote are you and your wife and your dog. That's fantastic. This is an example of why it's really dangerous to have groups of people who can't vote for themselves or who aren't counted in one way or another. It's very important to count every single person. We had a citizenship question that was added to the census more than 50 years ago, and then more than 50 years ago we got rid of that because it directly led, the Census Bureau said, to underreporting, to undercounting. And that is not good. It's not good for the government not to know where people live.
Well, I think you should write a letter to the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. Because what he's going to do is to decide. He'll be the decider, probably.
Oh, joy.
Yeah.
That was George W. Bush, wasn't it, the decider?
Yes, he was for a time, but no longer. When we come back, we're going to talk about whether Robert Mueller is a real loser for not insisting that Donald Trump actually testify. I mean, Mueller's excuse for not getting him to interview as well, the Department of Justice said, I can't indict the president, but that makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, if that's the case, then why investigate the guy at all?
Yep.
Stick with us.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Hey, Lorraine, do you realize that your mother, my mother-in-law, Chef Maria, has been serving Las Vegas since 1949?
Yes, I do, Dennis. That's when she first met Howard Hughes, who fell in love with her cooking.
And in 1955, she opened her first restaurant on Fremont Street.
Yes, dear. And another great customer was Liberace.
Wow. Then in 1962, while Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack were causing global excitement on the Las Vegas Strip, your family opened their second restaurant.
And in 1972, Elvis Presley began electrifying Las Vegas audiences and eating in our restaurants.
You know, Lorraine, this is quite a town. There's only one Las Vegas.
And there's only one Bootlegger Italian Bistro.
Folks, when you're in Las Vegas, come visit us. We'll make you feel like you're part of our family.
The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, conveniently located at 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard, South Strip. Visit our website at www.bootleggerlasvegas.com.
You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com, 310-873-4422.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644.
Hi, everybody. Michael Horn from CRNTalk.com. You know, we provide you with the best in talk radio. 8 channels of talk radio, from radio on the left, radio on the right, sports talk, business talk, religious talk, Spanish talk, you name it, we've got talk radio for you. All at CRNTalk.com. Well, now we'll bring you video as well as audio. That's right. Watch your favorite shows like The Robert Conrad Show, The Fred Dreyer Program, What's Cooking Today, What's Cooking on Wine, The Lounge, and so many other shows in video right at our website, CRNTalk.com. You can also watch us on Roku. Just search CRN Talk, and you can watch us on Roku on any TV anywhere in the world. Also on Facebook Live. Go to Facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Roku, search CRN Talk. Check us out on Tiki Live and at CRNTalk.com. Video for you talk fans, all from CRN Talk.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes. So, time for our rants. We're going to get it off our chest. There's some things that are pissing us off, and I'm going to go first.
How much time do you want? How much time do you need?
Well, you just, I'm going to need a couple of minutes here.
Okay, all right.
So here's the deal. It has to do with immigration. There's a story this week, folks. It says California legislature, in its wisdom, wants to kill all contracts with tech companies that have the audacity to actually work with Homeland Security, Customs Enforcement, ICE, and so on. I'm going to quote that philosopher, Jack Nicholson. We live in a world with walls. Why is that? Because some people pose a threat to America. That's not controversial. Now, it could be a threat to a small number of people, like victims of a terrorist attack. It could be a threat to a larger number of people, like victims of crime committed by illegals. It could be a threat to our very existence, like if, as a result of immigration policies, we are so weakened by caring for people that we can't handle that our national strength is reduced to the point where our enemies can conquer us. These realities argue in favor of borders and an immigration policy that, shocking, decides who gets in and gets out. In other words, ICE and the INS. To enforce borders and the rules about who gets in and who gets to stay, you need INS and ICE, and you need cooperation at every level of law enforcement. So if you have some communities or states that are fighting the enforcement by the feds of our immigration laws, well, you just weaken the effort to protect citizens. If you don't like the federal immigration policy, then change the president and Congress or present a case to the courts for striking down laws. But if it's the law of the land, you follow it. Sanctuary cities are no more justified than Southern white racists declaring a Mississippi hamlet is a sanctuary city and the feds can't enforce civil rights laws. We ain't letting those pussies in Washington tell us how to behave.
Now, that's what a Southern racist would.
Quote unquote. When it comes to the best and fairest immigration policies, let the debate begin. Immigrants do work Americans don't. They overall are a net benefit to the economy. They're mostly honest and pay taxes and contribute to communities. They tend to work for lower wages. So while they take some jobs from citizens, they make us stronger because the products they make are less expensive because of their lower wages. And that means Americans have more money left over and they can boost the economy. Fine, make that argument. Try to change the immigration law. Be sure our system is as good as it gets. But remember the goal. We're trying to strengthen and protect Americans, not the entire world, not people with whom we have a particular affinity, ethnically or geographically or historical motivation, if we care more about somebody or something other than America's best interest, we're going to go down the road of exposing us to threats. So keep the threats in mind and enforce the immigration policies that protect America. That's my rant. Connor, what's grinding your gears?
I really like that Jack Nicholson impression. That was really good.
That Jack
By the way, you
Nicholson?
can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. That's exactly where it
I feel so bad. I was trying to do Jack Benny.
Yeah.
No, Jack Benny. Here is Johnny.
All right. I got my own, and I'm going to, of course, mix it up and do a totally different topic. My gears are ground by the Electoral College. The problem with the Electoral College is not even the college itself, which, of course, we should be tearing asunder for all its failures. The problem is how we are talking about it. We are focusing on the wrong issue, and that is changing the national debate to be about overrepresentation in small states and underrepresentation in big states. Yeah. That's a problem. The Electoral College has that problem. It is silly, but it is a problem that is easily attacked for two reasons. One, it's not that big an effect. Yes, a person in California is only 1/4 of the vote in somebody of the power of a vote of somebody who lives in Wyoming, and that is a problem. That's nonsense, and that should not exist. But you can say that has, you can attack that angle by saying the Electoral College exists for a reason, and that reason is to protect small, vulnerable states from the tyranny of the majority. And that is the line that we have used for 100+ years in this country, more, where we have said that we need to preserve this institution just in case the big states try to throw their weight around and use all their power and influence to persecute the small states. That doesn't happen, but let's pretend that is an issue. Get that out of here. That is not what we should be arguing about. The problem with the Electoral College is that every individual state is won by a 51% majority, and all of their electors go to the winner first past the post, go fully over, which means you don't need a majority of the popular vote to win the presidency. It is theoretically possible to win the presidency of the United States of America with 21.9% of the popular vote. Which is ridiculous.
Trump may be looking at that.
Yeah, by any
that
measure.
Could happen.
Is that likely to happen? Is it likely that one candidate would win all the small states that get a big bump and win 51% in enough of the big states to tip it over and get just barely there, with Jersey being the last one, and we did it, 21%. No, that's not going to happen. But it doesn't matter.
So it should be proportional?
It should be pure, direct democracy, direct election of the president. We've got a situation
including
here.
Criminals and felons.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is a situation where we have a system set up where losers can be winners, and that should not be the case. This system has failed 5 times in American history. 53 out of 58 elections, it's gone okay. 5 times the popular vote has not determined the winner. And if you had
You know what Nicholson would say, 53 out of 58 ain't bad.
Yeah, that's a 9% failure rate. If you after the Super Bowl, all the points are counted up and the Patriots lose, and every once in a while, 9% of the time, the refs come out and go, actually, the Patriots win anyway. What? That would be completely unconscionable. It'd be ridiculous. We would not allow it. We would change it. We'd tear it down. America would riot until it was a constitutional amendment changed.
Well spoken. Ken, what's your rant?
I can't top that. I'm going into Howard Cosell all of a sudden here, I never played the game. No. Sorry. Well, I was going to do 2 things, but one was the anti-vaxxers. We may get a chance to talk about that before we get off the show here. But
please.
I think we may have talked about that last week, but with all the measles and stuff. Mm-hmm. But what about, I'll do my Peter Griffin impression. What grinds my gears? All
like Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, he is Peter Griffin. Yeah, so not Stewie, but yeah, him. So all these police chases on television. Are we getting more police chases again? And then the guy who led, this is mostly, we think, a Southern California thing, the guy who was beating up his girlfriend, allegedly, and ended up in the 99-cent store, I think, in Southgate or something, posted bail and got out yesterday morning, was immediately rearrested. Almost. I mean, this is
I
crazy.
absolutely agree. Not only is
what drives it though? The TV stations broadcasting it, or the number of people
that's got to be it. So it's the media. So it's really you, Mr.
Well,
Newsman.
I remember NBC in Los Angeles, the NBC station had a policy, and I'm so upset I'm holding the microphone. This is how bad it is.
Levitation.
No, but it's just a thing where, remember, a couple of years ago they said, okay, no, we're not televising police chases.
Good for them.
Yeah, that lasted a few months. I can bet you the ratings came out, and I bet the ratings were probably in the tank, so they went right back to doing it again. And now each station has SkyMap technology. So they have Channel 7 is SkyMap 7 to go along with their Mega Doppler 8 million HD, whatever the thing is. Channel 4 has something now which they're using on and off. 2 is trying to use it. Stu Mundell up in the chopper, who I think is great. But it's leading to a whole bunch of things. It's the fault of the
people, though, because their eyeballs go to the stations
inevitably.
With the chases.
Inevitably, yeah. They do. We love it.
I've seen people who work at radio traffic reporting services, and they're all gathered around the television watching the chase they're supposed to broadcast.
Meantime, on TV, people work all day to put together a half-hour newscast around the field. It's all tossed
garbage.
Yeah. All right, I'm with you on that.
But look at that chase! Oh my God! Look at him now!
Well, so here's a pet peeve a lot of people have, and that's that Robert Mueller didn't insist on getting an interview from Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's a bigger pet peeve.
Yeah, and his excuse was, well, the Department of Justice says I can't indict the president, but that really makes no sense. I'm wondering if you guys agree. I mean, isn't the idea, find out if anybody, Trump or his aides, colluded or obstructed? If yes, they did, then if they're not the president, then you indict them. If they are the president, you call him an unindicted co-conspirator. If they're innocent, then whether they're president or not, then you decline to prosecute. But why wouldn't you talk to Trump? And from the Democrat standpoint, what a wonderful opportunity it would have been to get the guy talking under oath about all of these issues, and Mueller passed on it. He said, oh, well, it would have taken so much more time. Well, he started doing it years ago, or many months ago, so I think he kind of stepped in.
Why didn't he, Bill Maher made a comment on his show last evening, and he said, why didn't he subpoena, he can call Donald Trump Jr. to testify, and didn't do it.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of strange.
I think this is an example of Mueller being, and okay, this is my opinion. It's not based on anything. This is just me reading the scenario, sort of trying to look at history and seeing what happened, and it's all from the outside, so I can't really know this stuff. But I think this was, frankly, a cowardly move by Mueller and his team based on fear. But when I say cowardly, I don't mean they're bad people.
Well, I mean, what kind of fear?
They're afraid that it would become a showdown between the president and Mueller's team. And Mueller saw a smoother, easier path of least resistance to getting his report done and out there and washing his hands of the whole thing and looking like the good guy and saying, I did my job, and now Congress has to figure out the rest. Punt. I'm not going to be the guy who tries to indict a sitting president and fails. So instead of trying to get...
But he can do it. He can indict him.
But instead of trying to actually do the brave thing and try to force Trump to sit down, or even force Trump Jr. to sit down, he just said, well, I'm not going to do that because what if they say no? If they say no, then suddenly we all sort of look around and realize, oh, one guy is the president and one guy is kind of, in a sort of way, president's boss.
Can he force Trump Jr. to testify? He can't?
Well, he can test anybody. He can force anybody to testify unless they take the fifth.
But they can refuse.
Yeah, and then if he gives them immunity, then they can't take the fifth. But Clinton testified. He didn't want to, and so there was a precedent for Mueller to have relied on that.
He could have, yeah. And I think he was just too afraid that Trump would say, no, what are you going to do about it?
We talked about low-speed chase or maybe high-speed chase, but there was another chase in the news, guys. We want to go up to Brookings, Oregon. One Jennifer Gaiman. She is a disabled Oregon woman. She rides an electric mobility scooter. She was driving home from a karaoke bar recently, and cops pulled her over and ticketed her, even though she told them, it was the only way I have to get around, and they ticketed her because she didn't wear a helmet. She has macular degeneration in both eyes. She has chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, peripheral neuropathy, and they stopped her, and you know what she did? she tried to outrun them on her mobility scooter. It was a low-speed chase.
Hell yes.
She said, I don't know why this is happening to me, especially when I've been riding the scooter for 2 years in this town. Do you understand? It's my mobility scooter. So the cop says, it's still an electric scooter, ma'am. You've got to wear a helmet. She said, you're taking my Disability Act and you're throwing it in the garbage. So then they said, you're not allowed to ride this thing without a helmet. You are not allowed to ride in a crosswalk. You're not allowed to ride it on sidewalks. You've got to stay in the bike lane until you get a helmet. You're not allowed to ride this thing. So this is a real confrontation up in Oregon.
Yeah.
They actually chased her with their lights and siren on and radioed for backup. Backup to get this lady?
Get backup, yeah.
Yeah. They
Not going it alone.
They handcuffed her in the garage of her home. Ugh. They read her Miranda rights. They searched her and placed her under arrest on suspicion of attempting to elude police. So we didn't do a moron of the week up top. I'm going to nominate the cops as moron of the week here because I think they kind of overdid it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is she still in jail? Well, we don't know, right?
No, I'm sure
I
she's
think,
out
Ken,
now.
she may have been executed by now.
Oh, jeez.
I'm speculating, but you know what they're like up in Oregon. You've seen Portlandia, right?
That's true. Look, this is obviously a couple of cops run amok, but it's also scary to think about how we treat folks with disabilities in this country. We regard them very negatively right off the bat. We are prejudiced against them, and then we don't accommodate them the way that we ought to, and recognize that laws obviously can't apply to every single person equally and have to be adjusted for this sort of thing. Look, this is an example. Some people are going to trumpet it as an example of, this is big government getting in your face. It actually is an example where you need big government to step in and say we need exceptions to ordinary rules for these people. So I think the solution here is more government, not less, because sometimes law enforcement doesn't act like government. Law enforcement acts like its own sort of little rogue agency where it runs off and exerts its power that it has been granted by government.
Well, thanks a lot, Connor, for taking my fun story with a lot of laughs and just turning it into a real Debbie Downer kind of situation. Okay.
Wah, wah. So, Saturday Night Live thing.
Vaccine protest. Anti-vaccine parents. Hundreds of anti-vaccine parents up in Sacramento, folks, are protesting. They've gone up there. Now, my reaction is, thank God that the government has plenty of wheelchairs, for all the protesting polio patients who didn't take their polio vaccines. What is wrong with these people?
And now we have serious, we have a bunch of students at Cal State LA and UCLA, I think, who are quarantined. And
because measles is back. We thought we had eradicated measles the way we got rid of polio, and it's back because increasing numbers of parents.
What? And if you didn't vaccinate your kid, you're an idiot.
Right, obviously.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, and if the government doesn't crack down on parents trying to get exemptions, they're idiots too, because it's public health. It's the same thing if the kid's got meningitis and the parents say, no, we're going to pray over him, and the state has an obligation to say, no, that 5-year-old, we have to protect his rights because the parents aren't.
But this is happening in California with the most stringent vaccination laws. But it hasn't stopped it.
Look,
that's amazing.
We've got hundreds and hundreds of anti-vaxxers parents who have flown in from all over the country to protest up in Oregon right now, and I think there's nothing we can do other than fill the whole building with concrete and say the problem is solved.
Well, that's a little extreme.
Is that
you thought I was extreme for executing a lady in Oregon? Whoa!
Sorry, it's too much.
Yeah, no, I think that maybe that's a bridge too far.
All right.
Like
How about we got them all in one room so we can sit them down and give them a good old-fashioned talking to lecture about how they should probably care about their children.
But it's their choice, don't you know? It's their choice, and it's a choice to perhaps kill your kid.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
And I'm not kidding.
So the Jeopardy champion rolls along.
Holhauser.
You realize the Jeopardy people know when he lost or how many rounds he got because it was done weeks ago, and they're treating it like news.
Well, it is news.
Fake
this
news.
may actually go through September because they take a break, right? Because of the taping schedule, and we may be back in September.
When we come back, I don't believe this. We're going to actually lie on the show.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Were you scammed into signing a timeshare contract? And did you miss the part that said you have to pay for your great idea? Not only for the rest of your life, but when you're not here anymore, you get to pass this turkey onto your family for them to pay for the rest of their lives. Thanks, Dad. Don't burden your family down the road, and don't be stuck with expensive timeshare payments forever. Get out of your bad idea timeshare contract guaranteed, or pay nothing. Call Resort Release today and learn for free how their timeshare exit team can help you legally exit your timeshare contract. They've helped thousands of people, and they're A+ rated with a BBB. So if you feel scammed, get mad and get out of your expensive timeshare contract right now, guaranteed. Call NOW.
800-716-9903. 800-716-9903. 800-716-9903. That's 800-716-9903.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. It's time to leave the cocoon. No more rain and cold weather. Enjoy the deliciousness of Columbo's. It's not just the delightful and tender steaks, the to-die-for fish specialties, Colombo family Italian specialties, along with jazz every night and the world's greatest meatballs. It's the feeling you get at Columbo's. It's easy, friendly, not phony, and so far away from Beverly Hills prices, it makes for, oh yes, experience. It's easy, and don't we all need a large dose of easy and enjoy? Don't deny yourself and the family. It really is Good Times Central. That's why you have got to get to Columbo's, because it really is that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's Manja.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes. And I believe Ken has an important announcement at this point.
Yes, I have an important announcement here. Now the Connor and Royal will now discuss topics they do not believe in at all.
A big fat lie.
Yeah, it's a big fat lie, and they're going to talk about it, though. Royal is going to talk about capital punishment, really what he doesn't believe, but we'll see about that. A little sarcasm alert. And Connor will take, as usual, the opposite.
Yes, I prefer.
Did I set that up okay?
It was perfect.
You did great.
Yeah, but I'll call it the irony alert.
The ironing alert, which reminds me I have to iron the...
and Iron Man is out this weekend. All right, so here's the deal, folks.
We'll avenge that later.
Governor Newsom has said that he's giving a reprieve to everybody on death row, and he's going to keep continuing to give them more reprieves. So he's not banishing capital punishment. It is the law, but this is his way of doing it. And he's absolutely right. The system is broken. We've got to put it out of its misery. We can't figure out how to kill people without torturing them. We don't know that the three-drug cocktail doesn't paralyze them and then inflict really serious pain. And I don't care what they did. We're not entitled to torture people upon their death. The endless appeals that are in our system means decades of waits. One federal judge said that capital punishment is out of here, is illegal in California. It's cruel and unusual punishment when you have no idea whether you're going to be executed in 2 years or 30 years or whatever. The real scandal is we don't have enough money or willingness to spend the money to get a lawyer for anybody on death row for 5 years after they were convicted. That is literally the case. We don't have enough people with the training to help defend folks on death row, and so you sit there for 5 years. Meanwhile, maybe you investigated. You could have investigated to figure out if the conviction was improper, but not for 5 years. Well, this is really crazy. It's hugely expensive. We have special wings in the prisons. They give them special privileges and so on. If you make a mistake, it is utterly irreversible. If you take a life, you can't say, sorry, we'll get it right next time. And for what? There's no consensus that it really deters murders. I mean, the reprieves by the governor are not repealing the law. They just are putting off executions until we can fix the system. That's my progressive view about capital punishment.
Well done. I really liked that for some reason.
And now with an apology.
I really liked it. Okay. I'm going to take this next thing, and I'll say, I don't believe this. But
we get it.
Our California death penalty system is broken, but it's the fault of the California proposition system, and it's the fault of our divided America generally that is split between such radical wings of both sides of the parties, not to be a both-sideser, but our public discourse is also fundamentally broken. And look, in 2012, we tried our darndest to repeal capital punishment, to slow down the process, and the public said in a smashing outcome, no, we like capital punishment, we support it, and we're going to show up for the polls for this proposition vote, and we're going to actually turn out for once in our lives and say, no, we think it's a good thing and makes the world a better place. We tried again. We liberals out there tried again in 2016, and we said, we are trying to stop capital punishment via the ballot once again in California, via a proposition. And guess what? The public, shocker, in the year that Trump won in 2016, turned out and said, no, we like capital punishment. We're going to do it. We're going to keep doing it, and we're going to do it right. 68% of people in California polled say they think capital punishment is a good idea and that the system doesn't make mistakes. And you know what? If there are people out there who want capital punishment to end forever and never come back, they've got to change public opinion. The burden is on them to change the public's mind and say, this is a bad thing, it's a bad system, they make mistakes and it shouldn't exist, and you don't need it, it isn't deterrent, blah, blah, blah. Until they do that, it is their fault that people are still out there dying via capital punishment in America. We have to step up, and until we do, that's the law. That's the way it is.
And Connor Oakes doesn't
Respect
believe
the will of the people.
He just said,
kill them all.
This has been, I don't believe this. So we'll leave you folks with these big fat lies. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week on the Royal Oak Show.
Which was most important because that was your theme.
Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio shows sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high-definition digital sound? Well, with CRN Digital Talk Radio's 6 channels of high-definition radio, you can now hear all of your favorite hosts like you've never heard them before in CRN HD. The difference is amazing. Catch your favorite political hosts like Dennis Prager, Tom Hartman, Barry Farber, and so many more. Entertainment and lifestyle programming like The Robert Conrad Show, The What's Cooking Show, and The What's Cooking on Wine Show, all in true CRN HD audio. Sports, business, travel, food, wine, politics, there is something for everyone, and it's all available in CRN High Definition Sound. Log on to www.crntalk for listings and information.